desert planet of Arrakis, survival is everything. Water is considered sacred, and power is constantly being contested. Religion is everywhere. In the films Dune and Dune Part 2, the story follows Paul Atreides, a young noble man born into a powerful family. He is thrusted into a dangerous political struggle over control of Arrakis, known to be the only source of the most valuable substance in the universe, spice. As Paul enters this unfamiliar world, he encounters the Fremen, the native people of Arrakis, whose lives are shaped by their religion, the belief in a prophecy, and need for survival. Over time, Paul becomes entangled in their belief system and eventually takes on a role far greater than he initially understands. Religion in Dune is central to the story. It influences the leadership, their identity, and drives the major events throughout the films. The Fremen, the native people of Arrakis, are deeply shaped by their religion. Their beliefs are rooted in the prophecy, survival, and the extreme conditions of their environment. Living in one of the harshest climates imaginable, the Fremen rely not only on physical endurance, but their shared belief systems that give meaning to their struggles and reinforce their unity. At the center of their religion is the prophecy of the Lisan al-Gaib, a messianistic figure who will come from outside their world and lead them to freedom. This prophecy is not only symbolic, but it actively shapes how the Fremen interpret events, people, and their own future. When Paul Atreides arrives on Arrakis, many Fremen begin to see him as the fulfillment of this prophecy. His survival in the desert, his knowledge, and his actions align with what they have always believed in and expected. Because of this, the Fremen don't just observe Paul, they begin to follow him. It transforms their actions and motivates them. It unites them and gives them shared direction. This is where we can apply the theory of functionalism developed by Durkheim. Durkheim argued that religion played a key role in maintaining social order by creating unity and shared purpose, rather than focusing solely on a belief. In the case of the Fremen, religion creates a collective identity. Their shared belief in the Lisan al-Gaib strengthens their social bonds and motivates them to act together against oppression. Religion becomes a stabilizing force. It provides meaning, organizes behavior, and helps individuals feel connected to something larger than themselves.
But what defines something as a religion? One way to approach this question is through essentialism, a perspective that looks for the core feature that makes something religious. Essentialist thinkers, such as E.B. Tylor, argue that religion is defined by belief in the supernatural, forces or experience that go beyond just the physical world. In Dune, the supernatural is first seen through Paul's visions. He experiences vivid, recurring images of the future, especially of Chani, which feel more like glimpses of destiny than imagination. These visions are intense, emotional, and consistent, suggesting that they are not random. Instead, they guide Paul's decisions and shape how he understands his role on Arrakis. Because of this, the visions function almost like a prophecy. They blur the line between what is happening now and what is meant to happen in the future. As Paul begins to live among the Fremen, these visions start to connect with the reality. His visions in battle, his growing confidence, and his ability to adapt to the desert begin to reflect what the Fremen already believe about their prophesied leader. This idea becomes even more clear when we look at the sandworms. The Fremen do not see sandworms as ordinary creatures. Instead, they view them as sacred beings, deeply connected to the spice, to the desert, and to life itself on Arrakis. Because of this, sandworms represent more than survival. They symbolize power, spirituality, and the natural forces that govern their world.
To better understand religion in Dune, we can also use the family resemblance model developed by Wittgenstein. This model suggests that religions are not defined by one single feature, but rather by overlapping similarities shared across different belief systems. One of the most important elements in the Fremen religion is the idea of a messianistic figure represented by Paul Atreides. This idea can be compared to real-world religions. In Christianity, Jesus is viewed as a savior figure sent to guide humanity. In Buddhism, figures like the Buddha represent enlightenment and spiritual transformation. While these figures differ, they all serve as central guides within their religious traditions. Another key feature of the Fremen religion is the idea of sacred space. In Dune, the desert of Arrakis in its entirety is sacred and central to their entire belief system. The desert shapes how the Fremen live and understand the world. Every aspect of survival is tied to meaning and identity. The harsh environment creates a deep respect for the land, turning it into something sacred. Rather than building traditional temples, the Fremen treat the desert itself as a spiritual force, representing both danger and life. This can be compared to real-world sacred locations, such as Mecca and Islam, where a place itself holds deep spiritual meaning and shapes religious identity. Ritual is another important element of religion. In Dune, the water of life is used in a dangerous transformation ritual. When Lady Jessica, seen here, consumes it, she undergoes a process that not everyone can survive. This ritual represents a shift in identity and awareness. Those who survive gain deeper knowledge and a new role within their community. This can be compared to initiation rituals in real-world religions, where individuals undergo intense or symbolic experiences to enter a new spiritual state. Additionally, another practice is reclaiming water from the dead, which is both practical and symbolic. In a world where water is extremely sacred, nothing is wasted. At the same time, the ritual reflects a deeper belief that individuals remain part of the community even after death. By returning their water to the tribe, the deceased continue to contribute to the group. Rituals are central to many real-world religions, like snake handling in some forms of Christianity. It is intense ritual expressions of faith, where physical actions demonstrate belief and commitment to God. In Dune, there are also many sacred places. For example, the sacred well is a protected space where water is stored and used in meaningful ways. It holds the water of all deceased Fremen in their life force. This space functions similarly to sacred sites in real-world religions, where rituals take place and important symbolic actions are performed. The well represents life, continuity, and shared responsibility within the community. Similarly, in many religions, churches and other sacred structures serve as places for gathering, ritual, and connection to something greater. While the Fremen religion may look different from more familiar traditions, it shares key features such as belief in a central figure, sacred spaces, ritual practices, and symbolic meaning. Through the family resemblance model, we can see that religion is not defined by one single trait, but by overlapping similarities.
Structuralism suggests that meaning is not created in isolation, but shaped by existing cultural systems. Systems that tell people what to expect and how to interpret what they see. For the Fremen, these systems are built around prophecy, survival, and strength. During Paul's fight with Jameis, we see more than just a physical battle. To an outsider, this is simply a fight for survival. But to the Fremen, it represents something much deeper. They are watching closely, not to see who wins, but to understand what this moment means. Paul's hesitation, his control, and his eventual victory all carry symbolic weight. At the same time, Paul's connections to the Chani reflect something deeper than coincidence. She has appeared in his visions and now exists in his reality. This overlap between vision and real experience reinforces the idea that Paul fits into a larger pattern, one that the Fremen already believe. Earlier in the film, Paul's father speaks to him about responsibility, leadership, and the expectations placed upon him. This moment introduces that Paul is not just a person, but someone who may carry a larger role. The structure becomes fully visible when Paul rides the sandworm. To the Fremen, this is not just an impressive act. It is proof. It perfectly matches the signs that they have been taught to recognize. Everything they already believe, the prophecy, the expectations, the meaning of power in the desert, it all comes together in this moment. As the Fremen react, calling him the fulfillment of the prophecy, we see structuralism in action.
This connects to the concept of habitus, developed by Pierre Bourdieu. Habitus refers to the deeply ingrained ways people think, behave, and interpret the world, patterns shaped over time by their environment and lived experiences. These patterns become so familiar that they feel natural. People do not usually question them, they simply see the world through them. In this scene, Paul reveals personal details and hidden truths about the Fremen. To them, this is not surprising, it is meaningful. It suggests that Paul understands something deeper about their lives and their culture. Because the Fremen already live within a system shaped by prophecy and spiritual signs, they are prepared to interpret moments like this as evidence that Paul is not ordinary. Their habitus shapes that reaction. It influences what they notice and what they are willing to believe. Habitus also explains why Paul's actions begin to feel natural within Fremen culture. As he runs towards the sandworm, this is not just a test of strength. It shows his ability to act within the expectations of their world. The Fremen value discipline, control, and survival. When Paul takes on this challenge, he demonstrates those same qualities. This makes him feel less like an outsider and more like someone who belongs. Even everyday practices reflect habitus. The still suit represents a way of life shaped by scarcity, where survival depends on discipline and adaptation. For the Fremen, using the still suit is second nature. The same is true of the sandwalk, a learned behavior shaped by the environment of Arrakis. When Paul performs the sandwalk, he is not just copying a movement, he is beginning to embody the habits of the Fremen themselves. Because of this, the Fremen are not consciously choosing to believe in Paul. Their way of thinking has already prepared them to see them as meaningful.
However, religion in Dune is not only about belief, it is also about power. The Bene Gesserit, a powerful and secretive sisterhood, deliberately plants religious prophecies across different societies. They create myths in advance, ensuring they can later influence entire populations. These beliefs are carefully constructed. They are designed to be used as tools of control. By shaping what people believe, the Bene Gesserit shapes how people act and who they follow. In this way, religion becomes a tool of political power. It allows those in control to guide behavior and maintain authority. Paul's rise is not entirely natural. It is built on a system designed to produce someone like him. What appears to be destiny may actually be carefully constructed influence. This raises important questions about the relationship between religion and power, not just in Dune, but in real-world societies as well.
In Dune, religion is more than faith. It is a force that shapes identity, unites communities, and drives action. It gives meaning to survival, creates a sense of belonging, and guides how people understand the world. At the same time, it is something that can be influenced, structured, and even manipulated. Through the Fremen, we see how religion can create unity and shared purpose. Through the Bene Gesserit, we can see how belief systems can be constructed and used for control. And through Paul, we can see how religion can be transformed into a symbol of power and destiny. Across these examples, Dune reflects key ideas we see in real-world theories of religion, showing how belief can be shaped by culture, reinforced by experience, and used to influence entire societies. Dune ultimately leaves us with the question: is religion something we believe, or is it something that shapes how we see the world?